Welcome back to Midday Kentucky, everyone. Well, it's that time of the year for all of us to be ready, guess what, for the flu. Now, the flu is a contagious respiratory illness caused by influenza virus that can cause infection in the nose and throat. Well, between 5 and 25% of the US population contracts the virus each year. Dr. Stich is in the building. How are you, my friend, from Access Med? We had you on for Men's Health Month. We invited you back. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks for having me back.
Okay, well, I needed you back because I think I'm getting the flu. And I wanted to understand what it is with this cold weather and it's snapping the flu on everyone. Talk to me about what the flu actually is.
So the flu is a respiratory virus. It's spread by little teeny tiny droplets that we cough up or leave on surfaces of things, and we tend to pick it up from one another. And it's an interesting point. You mentioned the cold, right?
Yeah.
So there has actually been some studies that show people are a little bit more susceptible during the cold, but it has a whole lot more to do with being in close quarters, being inside, and being exposed to folks. So we pass it around a lot more, making it
Nothing
more
really to do with the cold.
Well, there's maybe a little component to
Okay.
that. The evidence is like this, it's newer stuff about the cold weather and cell membranes, and it might be a little bit more permeable, but the long and short of it, no, the main reason is because it's more common in the winter, and we're in close quarters with one another, and we tend to spread it around.
So why don't we get the flu at the other times of the year? Why is it just the winter? So that's my question to you is, if we're in close encounters with most people throughout the summer as well and autumn, is the cold adding to that?
Not necessarily. The evidence actually shows we're outside a little bit more in the fall, so we're a little bit less compacted. But also, that tends to be when it spreads around. Kids are in school, so they're with one another. In the summer, we're out of school, so you don't get that vector as well.
So it's the kids' fault. Is that what you're telling me?
I'm not going to blame the kids.
Eliminate the children, everyone.
It's the virus's fault. It's the virus.
How do we not get the flu?
So the best things that you can do are good old-fashioned hygiene, washing your hands frequently, getting a good night's rest every night, making sure that you're in good physical shape, and then avoiding folks who are sick. The next best thing that we can do is the flu vaccine. Unfortunately, this year, the flu vaccine hasn't been spot on for this particular strain.
Why is that? What do you know about it?
Well, there's a theory that it mutated from when it was originally created. So what happens is every year, the CDC does a lot of pretty intensive investigation as far as which strain of the flu is going to be the most prevalent and most infectious. So we base the vaccine on that, and it's usually fairly accurate. Like last year was a pretty good batch of vaccine, and it prevented about 50 to 60%. This one, at least for this particular flu, it's about 10% effective, so not as good. Now, keep in mind, last year we saw multiple strains of the flu. And this year, we're only talking about the first one. There's no telling what's going to happen with the next couple. So we still recommend getting that vaccine. And the main reason we do that is because, yes, we want to prevent the flu. We want to prevent that 1 week illness for folks, but we really want to prevent the complications. Those are what we're more concerned about.
Longer term effects of the flu.
Well, not necessarily longer term. The flu can actually be fatal, especially to high-risk populations.
Okay, I've had the flu shot, so I was feeling great. What's the difference between a cold and a flu?
So the flu is traditionally thought of as a little bit more severe than a cold. A cold can be a whole host of viruses, and even the common cold has the potential to make people pretty sick acutely, even though it's a virus. The flu, though, traditionally has a higher mortality. And we know about every 50 or 60 years, epidemiologically speaking, we can expect a big bad flu that has a higher mortality that can really make people sick.
Okay. What vitamins and minerals do you suggest? Because they say, you know, you've got those airborne tablets and you've got vitamin C extra. Do you believe in those type of things? Should you be taking them as extra precautions?
Sure. There's definitely some evidence. The evidence is really mixed on that. Vitamin C has been long-standing, traditionally recommended vitamin that's supposed to help with respiratory and infections. And that's true. The biggest thing, though, is, again, going back to that balanced diet.
You're right.
You know, taking good care of yourself, eating well, and making sure that you're getting all the nutrients and vitamins that you need. Vitamin D is another one. Vitamin D has a lot to do with vitality. It's a cofactor, meaning it turns on some protein synthesis, and it helps our bodies produce what we need to.
I got you. As always, great advice, Dr. Stich. If you want to find out more information about Access Med, there is all their information up on the screen. I went over to their office just recently, everyone. It's a beautiful office, and you offer so many different services. We appreciate you coming in. Hey, everyone, we'll be back in the kitchen with Alison Davis, and we're taking a look at a healthy recipe with some Asian zing. You're watching Midday Kentucky, everyone. Stick right here.